G'day guys and welcome back to the JFBS SuperCoach channel. And today we're going to go through the best valued / mid-priced rucks in, and oh my God, I was about to say NBA SuperCoach, AFL SuperCoach. It's probably going to be a bit shorter because there's one guy I think everyone should get, is Tristan Cherry. The rest is kind of anyone, like it could be anyone. I've seen people have Tim English, Luke Jackson, Brody Grundy, Max Gawn, all these guys. But today we're going to go through some mid-price options as well. A lot of these guys I'll talk a bit more in depth compared to others, but you've also got to realize with the new ruck rules, who's really going to excel with that. If you haven't checked out my the Ruckmen video, which was, I don't know, I recorded a couple of days ago and I think it releases today as I'm recording. But yeah, I mentioned a couple guys that would be okay for maybe the new ruck rules. Just off the top of my head, how teams play. They're not waiting 25 seconds, which happened once where they waited 25 seconds for two ruckmen to get from one wing to the other. So, yeah. Let's talk about some mid-price guys. So, we can get started off with Jordan Sweet. So I don't know how to feel about Sweets because I heard somewhere that it's Dante, I believe. Dante Vicentini is the #1 ruck in Port Adelaide. Now, I don't know. I forgot where I got it from. I really don't think I'm just making this up. Let me know if I'm wrong. But I heard somewhere that Vicentini was the #1 guy there for now. So they want Vicentini. They kind of want to move on from Jordan Sweet. I just personally wouldn't touch any Port Adelaide ruckman just because of that divide there. Unless you're completely certain that Dante Vicentini's playing. He's going to be averaging more than 55 as the #1 ruck. Played 8 games last year. So I probably wouldn't touch Sweet. Wouldn't touch Flynn. Blitzarves is interesting. Depends with Conway. He's at 301k. Is he going to be playing? He was injured all last year, so hard for him to get into the team. But it'd be interesting for how Cats fans view him because Reece Stanley retired, didn't he? Or no, he didn't retire. So it really should be Reece Stanley's last year. That's what some fans of Geelong have been saying. Kieran Briggs, a guy maybe this time last year with that price, I'd be like, oh, it's pretty good, but I don't see it as it's worth it. I don't think he's going to excel at this new ruck, like the new ruck rules at all. He doesn't really jump. Kind of similar with Sean Darcy. They don't really jump. They really like to crash bodies instead. So it's going to be harder for him, winning a lot of ruck contests that way. So I don't know. And around the ground, he kind of stays towards the back end as well. Darcy Fort, probably wouldn't touch him as well. I mean, Sam Draper, I'm super high on, but they're planning on doing a 50-50 split. And I don't know how to feel about that. I don't think he'll be averaging 91 then. So I think with my ruckman, it's going to be something like up towards the top. So I'm probably going to say no to Draper, no to Darcy Fort, which is unfortunate because I really wanted Draper. And there's like Hugh McCluggage was talking about him before the Christmas break, how he tapped it down to the suitcase and basically he just said, oh, that was beautiful. Never said that to Darcy Fort, but yeah. Don't know how to feel. Do not know how to feel. Mark Pitnet. If he's the #1 ruck at Carlton, there's obviously another guy who's joined Carlton, which we can talk in a tick. Then I reckon it's not a bad option. 83 average. I reckon he could definitely get it. He's supposed to be priced around 500k or 450k. Sorry. Yeah, I reckon he's not a bad option. And if he's the #1 ruck, then I think it's appropriate for him to, average more as well. Jake Riccardi, no, he's a forward. Stanley, no. Madden, he's the backup ruck, even though he averages well. Ned Moyle, that's only if Witts gets injured. Same with Soldo, don't touch him. Conway, don't know. So other guys I was looking at, Baylor J. Williams, no. Laddams, no, sorry. Got myself off. So, Nick Bryan and Vigo Vicentini. So, Essendon Ruckman, I feel like it's not bad. Nick Bryan obviously getting injured. I think he did his ACL and Vigo getting a couple games as well. But I reckon Nick Bryan's not too bad now that they've lost Draper and Todd Goldstein's retired. It really opens up that ruck position. And I think Nick Bryan's not too bad. Like, if you've got the cash, this is just Ned Reeves being there for an example, you could have Nick Bryan as your backup, like as your third option, especially if you're going with a ruck combo of, like, for example, Brodie Grundy and Tim English. I don't know if they have the same buys. I'll just double check for myself. Well, they do actually, so that's probably not a great example. Excuse me. Not that I think this would be the weirdest ruck combo I've ever seen, but if you had Grundy and Pitnet, you could definitely just swap Bryan when Pitnet's got his buy in round 2 and then Grundy in round 3. It's probably not a bad option there, but look, I don't like. I'd have to see it myself. Like, the preseason games would definitely have to be a big thing to look for. I'd love to have him on my team. He could also be a flex option at 250k, which isn't too bad either. But look, we'll see how the preseason plays out, and see what kind of SuperCoach averages he gets in those preseason games if he is healthy. Max Heath played 4 games last year. I'm gonna say no. Cox probably don't. He's like if both Jackson and bloody Sean Darcy are injured. But I think a lot of teams are going to roll out with the second ruck option. So if Darcy gets injured a lot, I reckon Cox is unfortunately going to be playing some games for Freo. Cooper Duff, Heitler. Now, I think he's an option to have, but I don't know. He's not going to be rucking straight away. He'll be like the Toms, like, for example, for Richmond fans. I don't expect everyone to know this as much as me or other Richmond fans, but Tom Sims, for an example, he's not the number one ruck. That's obviously Nankervis, and Nankervis didn't miss that many games. So when does Tom Sims come in? He comes in when Toby Nankervis is having a break, or he's going to be playing. They're going to play a taller lineup and play Nankervis down back as a interceptor on his own. So I think it's going to be the same with Cooper Duck Titler in the sense with the Tom Sims role, where he plays majority forward, but he'll go into the ruck. So I don't think he's an option for me. And if he's an option for you, then fair enough. Like, if you're confident having him in your team, then I can't convince you otherwise. I do think he's going to be a great ruck in the future. He's going to be something like Luke Jackson, and hopefully that midfield, he'll be like that fourth inside mid. But I'm going to steer clear from Cooper Duff Titler for now. And I think that is about it. I'm looking at other guys. Last one. Just double check. Liam Reedy. So if all goes well for Carlton or for him, he plays round 1 or round 0 and round 1. And you have enough time to get rid of him because he had his price. Sorry, what am I trying to say? It's also not a bad option to not go for him because he's going to play round 0 and then he plays round 1. His price won't change. Players' prices change after 3 games. They have a buy round in round 2. So he's going to be staying at this price until round 3. So that's about a month in. You can get a read on Reedy, no pun intended, but hopefully he can average some decent scores, and you can downgrade him potentially if he's been getting some good scores as well, or even get him at forward. It's not a bad option to have him down at forward. I'll just go back down to him. But yeah, Liam Reid is probably the very cheapest option in my opinion. I hope Carlton are high on him, and I hope they play him as their main ruck. But look, in this game, you've got to have just a ruck. You've just got to have a number one guy, and I feel like Pitnet's kind of solidified that himself for the past few years he's been at Carlton. It was only just Tom de Koning the back end of 2024 and all of 2025 really taking on that main ruck role, and it's kind of pivoted Pitnet towards the VFL side. But now that he's gone, it opens it up again for Pitnet and Brady. So we'll see there. But I think that'll do it for me. If you wanted to see something like how I might do my rucks this time around, I think I will be having Kalani White just because he's got the Melbourne, like the forward ruck combo, and I'd have a guy like I'd have Reedy in the forward line, but on the bench just to see how he goes. But then as my other guy in ruck, it was Sam Draper, but now that I feel like it's going to be 50-50, I don't really want him. So the next option for me, I really don't know. A lot of people go in Tim English, but because he does get around the ground a lot, but he does go down back when the opposition has the ball. And there's like, if there's a turnover and he's not nearby and they ball it up, he's not going to be anywhere nearby. So that could be the option. And then Reedy just swaps for White. And then, they have the same buy, don't they? No, they don't. So, yeah, round 2, he can go off, English on, and then round 3, Reedy on, English off. But yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do with my ruck situation. So I've basically got 4 rucks here. But also the Nick Bryan option is not a bad idea. I didn't really think about it until I was just looking at it now. You could run with 5 rucks. Pretty decent in this game. Obviously, Kalani White's not going to be playing much, but he'll be a good option to put the captain on as well. But yeah, that's going to do it for me. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Let me know if I've missed any like mid-price ruck options or what you're doing with your whole ruck situation, because I think everyone's just going to be everywhere. Let me know if you didn't like it, the video in general. I'm joking. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you guys have a good one. I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.